how would you recommend them to like actually start moving into this remote work? Like, what would be your first steps? Like, if someone asks you, "Hey, Hector, what are my first steps?" What were they, or
How,
what?
the first steps to become like a software developer remotely, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how to become a remote software developer?
I think in our case would be how to become a remote software developer. Maybe a junior. I don't know. Like, if
All right, I'll put it this way: how to become a remote software
cool, cool,
developer.
cool.
I think um, I'll give my opinion, and then you'll give yours. I mean, you're the young guy in between the two of us, but I would say the new people coming will already have that chip. I mean, I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that the new graduating professionals that come out there, uh, first of all, remote working starts to feel normal now. As I said before, given with the pandemic and all other stuff, now remote working has started to be kind of normalized in a sense that a lot of people in our area will be really normal. Most of them will be like, okay, I'm gonna work from my house or from my apartment or from wherever I need to work. I mean, the mindset will be already there, I guess, because imagine when I graduated so many years ago, maybe 15 or 16 years ago, and if they told me, okay, you're gonna go you're gonna work from your house, I was go, oh, that's really cool, man. But people these days, the young people, I think they already know that that's a big chance they will
Yeah,
they
or they
will do.
expected it, right? Like,
They expect, especially if they're into tech or software development or anything related to this area. Now, one thing that is different, or knowing that you will be that is different, just than to be a successful remote software developer, right?
hmm
It's
hmm
different. So obviously, working remotely comes with advantages, but it comes with also with so many responsibilities, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
It's easy to screw up.
exactly, it's easy to screw it up. It's easy just to, okay, I'm at my house and there's the TV and there's the couch, there's the bed. I'm gonna go ahead and sleep and to waste my time.
There's Netflix.
It's easy to screw it up. So sounds weird, but you need to. I would recommend myself. You need to have a schedule. It will sound
Yeah,
weird for some people.
you have to have create a routine around your day.
Yeah, I know remote working and all this sounds like okay. I don't like routines, but at the end, I would recommend to have some kind of schedule or a routine. Otherwise, you will end screwed up. You will end okay
Yeah,
doing one day some things and the other day some other things, and that becomes into less productivity.
yeah,
Into
I agree 100%. Like, unless you're fully freelancing and you may have like a due date 3 months late, like that's a different story, right? But if you're trying to go a route where you're a contractee or an employee, you have to create a routine around your work.
exactly, and even with routines, everything works better. I remember before the pandemic, obviously, I had my routine and it worked really smoothly. Obviously, with the pandemic, I had to change so many things. But I remember at the early morning. I mean, I have a kid. We took it. My wife took it to him to the school at 7 a.m. and then that was my time where I went to the gym in the morning. Then I came back. I started my day around 9 a.m. and so on. And I around noonish, I went to pick up my kid, came back, and that was my routine, and it was really cool. And I was able to do a lot of stuff. Uh, what was the advantage? I had the great advantage that I didn't have to spend time on the traffic going to an office.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the gym that I went to was like a couple of blocks from my house. Obviously, the school is not far from here. So yeah, I was, and I'm still like to be productive at work. Spend the correct times to do my stuff, and also spend time to do other stuff
yeah.
besides work. So otherwise, if you start working at early morning and then stop working at 8 to 9 p.m., that man, that's you will end in a mental crisis. You,
That,
need you need routine. It's also for yourself. It's
it's
not
yes,
for work.
it's for your
Rout-
mental health, dude.
For
Yeah.
by routine, I mean for your mental health and for your physical health and for whatever you need that routine.
I,
Otherwise, you can become working forever.
I think what you said is great. Like the time I took commuting to work, I'm going to the gym now. Like that's a great way to substitute that lost time. You were in the traffic getting stressed out. Now you're in the gym. You're probably a lot more fit. You have better oxygenation. You're well rested because you're not your anxiety. You left it in the gym. Because when you're commuting, it's like you get anxiety. You're like road rage, and you're like, screw this, you know. And when you're in the gym, quite the contrary. You're getting de-stressed. You're getting healthy, and then you go back to work, and now you're you're already your day has already started. You're already worked out. Now you're ready to sit and like go do it. And if you wanted to go to the gym when you got to go to the office, you had to go like at 4 a.m. or like 5 a.m. And yeah, I'm not gonna wake up at 5 a.m.
Or really late.
Yeah,
And if you go late, some times are, I mean, the chances are you want to go. You probably won't go because you're tired or you maybe have other plans.
yeah. And one thing I could like the best tip I think I can give someone, you know how there's like this like swarm or fleet of tech YouTubers saying these are the top 5 tech languages you have to learn, or this is the top
Okay.
5 technologies if you want to get a job as software. Okay, guys, don't watch those YouTube videos. I'll tell you right now, the number one language if you want to actually work remote and be successful at it, the number one language you need to learn is English.
Yeah.
Forget about JavaScript, forget about Python. The one language that would actually land you your dream remote job is English. And you're never too old to learn it. Like a lot of friends of mine just learned to play in video games online. Granted, they say a lot of bad words, but but there's a lot of easy access to
Yeah.
the English language, and specifically if you're Latin American based, or maybe I don't know, Ukrainian based, a place where you don't speak English and you want to get a good salary, you have to learn English. That's something people don't say enough. Maybe
Totally.
a lot of the
Totally agree.
recruiters are mostly native English speakers. So yeah, guys, number one language is English. The best documentation is in English. Translation, a lot is lost in the translation. So you don't even have to be like level 5, go to college writing essays. You have to be just technical English, and it's easier to learn.
Correct. Yeah, totally agree. It doesn't have to be the best English, as you said, but communication. They just put it in a simple terms of communication skills in English, obviously.
Of
In
course,
English,
yeah,
because most companies are not all the companies are US based. Most of them, or at least the companies that have the best offers or most more jobs maybe are US based, but there are also other in other areas, and most times, mostly the standard language will be English for everything, right?
yeah,
Even for companies in Europe, okay, English is like a standard language. It's now the standard language in the world, or at least in the Western world.
yeah,
Uh, it is. It is what it is. Doesn't have to be the best English, but good communication skills. So we I don't have the best pronunciation, but if I'm able to communicate and have like also like the show like the positive attitude, all that stuff that
yeah.
comes in the
Attitude is
communication,
super important. Yeah,
that adds a lot of points. That if you have decent English, you don't have to, again, you don't have to be the best. You have decent English, and you're able to communicate and show positive attitude. You already have your first check.
yeah.
You
And I
already
think
have
that's the biggest one for recruiters, right? Like, okay, he can talk. Maybe
exactly.
he can talk. Yeah, his pronunciation, like my pronunciation, is like right now, some words are hard to say, and maybe you take 2 seconds to process what was said, and in order to translate it in your head and then speak it back, that doesn't matter. It's enough English to communicate effectively, and the willingness to work, and you can land a junior role, no problems. Or if you have more experience, a higher role, right? But it's not it's not hard. It's and then focus on your computer skills, right? But my
what would you recommend, or what's your opinion on the next step?
on the next step.
I mean,
So
you're already mastered, or you're already on you have good communication skills. Now what's the next important thing?
So let's say, like in my case, right? My most of my clients or my focused companies where I want to like get hired are US based. Uh, that's there's UK options, there's Canadian options, but looking from a salary standpoint, I've seen better salaries in US based companies for software developers. So number one is English. The second one, social media is super important. Like if you're on Twitter ranting about controversial topics and posting bad things and companies find that and even in their like forums they ask you to fill out with your own social media. So keep a clean social media presence. Doesn't mean you have to be politically correct or whatever. Just a clean one and focus more on LinkedIn than any other like social media. My LinkedIn is pretty solid. I use uniform colors. It's up to date. I use both Spanish and English. And if I had odd jobs, I don't put the odd jobs there. I just put like quality jobs that maybe from companies that are already registered in LinkedIn. And that's super important. Be active on it, like people, comment on it, endorse other people. Start building, have at least 200 to 500 connections, which are valuable connections. And those are easy to get. Like LinkedIn is super important, and bilingual profiles. That's the second thing I would focus on. And then
regarding technical skills, what do you think?
man, that's a good question. I think that's personal on what everybody wants to do. If you want to go into QA, there's two languages, JavaScript and Python currently. If you want to go into like full stack development, I personally like the Node.js environment, so I would go and say learn TypeScript.
All right.
If you're going to collaborate with a big project and with a lot of company, most likely you're going to be using TypeScript because playing JavaScript, it's great to learn. You need it. Like you need to understand why JavaScript works the way it is, but you're most likely going to build things that are tight. Unless you're in a startup or a small company, but I can guarantee you guys, if you take my tips and you get a job and you're like, oh, Saul was wrong. I'm just gonna do regular JavaScript. Once you have more than 3 people on your team, you're gonna start struggling when with typing.
All right.
And yeah.
But before that, I would recommend algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms.
Basically, go to HackerRank or
I like CodeSignal.
CodeSignal or any other. There's so many that you can just log in, subscribe, and then do a lot of
companies
challenges.
See your HackerRank scores. Companies see your CodeSignal. So, and you can even connect that to your LinkedIn. So, it's so easy to get good exposure. Maybe not experience, but good exposure on your development skills. So, let's say I want to become a JavaScript developer, and as Hector said, hey, I'm not maybe the best in algorithms. Go to Udemy, buy a 50 peso course, take the course, and then go to CodeSignal or HackerRank and do the algorithms in JavaScript. And you'll get maybe competitive programming and actual development is not the same. And I feel interviewers go into like the competitive programming like questions, like build a merge sort or build an optimal like filter or it's like those things are already built into the language in most cases. So you need to be good at interviewing, but at the same time, if you have a solid profile, you have good exposure. Let's say you solved a couple of GitHub issues or you answer Stack Overflow questions, you get badges that you can put on your LinkedIn. So everything should be connected to your LinkedIn, even your GitHub. Be active in GitHub, guys. Maybe not do stupid commits, but try to do one commit daily. Like have personal projects. The best thing you can do is build a personal website with the stack you want. That's the biggest tip I can give you guys.